What's up guys and welcome back to the channel. I'm Andy the Middle-Aged Gamer and this is the brand new VFC Maxim Defense MD9 gas blowback PCC/PDW/SMG review. Now as always, let's stick the usual disclosures on screen, grab a drink, get ourselves comfy and let's jump right in. Okay, so let's start this review off with answering this simple question: who are Maxim Defense? And if you've not been living under a rock, Maxim Defense started out as a parts manufacturer for AR-15s. Now, they made a massive name for themselves because of this stock, the CQB/PDW stock. Now, of course, it would only be a matter of time before they invested in making full, complete guns, and they have done so. We have guns from 9mm PCCs all the way up to 5.56 carbines, you name it, and they all look amazing. In Airsoft, Maxim Defense really don't have a footprint in our market. Outside of the officially licensed stock for the DDM4 PDW by GHK, which is an awesome PDW, they really don't have any sort of presence out there. People have cloned their products for sure. Many people are using knockoffs from China on their Airsoft toys, but they've never done a complete build. They've never gone to a manufacturer and contracted them to build a complete Maxim Defense gun until now. Now, in 2024, specifically the MOE Expo, VFC announced to the world that they had secured the license to the Maxim Defense line of AEGs and GBBRs. Now, of course, we all knew that it would be in safe hands, kinda. And we all started to bet on which would come first. At the show, they would basically produce a AEG of the MDX, which is the 5.56 version of this. And they produced this gas blowback in its rough prototype form. And of course, we were all wondering which one would come out. So, glad to say, it's the MD9. And I think they chose wisely for that. So, what did VFC do? How did they do it? Let's do what we always do. Let's start at the rear, work our way forward. Okay, so let's start here at the rear, and we do have the Maxim Defense PDW/CQB stock, fully recreated in all its glory. It is the PDW, you can tell by the length of buffer tube. The buffer tube itself is metal, but if you put a magnet to it, you can find that the insides are being attracted to the steel recoil spring. But it's nice to be a metal buffer tube. It's going to be decent enough for the long haul. Now, of course, here at the rear, we do have the metal butt pad, and it is chamfered and textured with the Maxim Defense hexagonal patterning there, which is quite nice. It will fit in your shoulder very, very nicely. There is zero bend or flex, unlike the GHK version, which I do love. But again, this is well supported. There is no bend or flex even after 4,000 rounds have been put through this thing. It is just absolutely awesome and well built. The arms themselves are steel, and of course so is the stock release button right here. You would push in and release, and you can collapse it all the way fully in, or you can go 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, now underneath we do have a very chunky sling loop right here, which is again steel, and that is awesome. On the other side right here, you have your takedown lever, which you would push both of these together and you can remove the stock. It is steel as well. So this thing is not going anywhere. It's really good. You can see underneath the marking for Maxim Defense. This is all officially licensed, like I say. So it's absolutely awesome. Now, of course, moving up, we do have what most people should recognize by now as a BCM charging handle without the markings. And that is nice. It is a ambidextrous charging handle, so whichever hand you use, well, you can easily rack this handle. Now, of course, it looks like a short pull because it is a 9mm bolt in there, but because this is the PDW, it doesn't have a long travel and it's very snappy inside. We'll get to that. The charging handle itself, though, is a full-length AR-15 charging handle. Okay, now moving down, we do have this awesome grip right here. which is basically based off of the Magpul grip, but is Maxim Defense's. It's a very nice grip and feels really good and comfortable. But being any standard AR-15, you could easily, if I can get that in camera, there's a little grub screw in there, undo it and fit any mil-spec AR-15 grips of your choice. You can do. I'll leave that up to you. Now, moving here, we do have our nicely ergonomic and enlarged trigger guard. It is molded into the low receiver, so that's kind of cool. And that gives us plenty of room for a gloved hand to actually use the trigger without any discomfort. So that's nice. Now, of course, underneath the trigger guard, you do have the Maxim Defense engraving there as well. So that's kind of cool. There is a serial number just there. But let's talk about the trigger. The trigger itself is basically the VFC V3 trigger. And that's great, but I have noticed that with this, it was a little bit gritty and grindy, taking around about 500 rounds to self-polish in, just to be smoother enough. Now, this is a heavy trigger. The spring for the hammer and everything else in there are just basically heavy. So being a single stage, if I gauge this right for you, there's a 1, 2, 3, around about 4 millimeters of travel, give or take, which is not bad. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and there's 4 for full. And as you heard there, nice positive reset. Now, like I say, it was gritty as hell and did need to self-polish. So you did need to put rounds down range, which is becoming fairly common now in airsoft with certain manufacturers to put in triggers that are just not quite tuned. You know, it's a sign of what market they were going for, I guess, in one respect. Now, of course, once it is polished, there is no issues. There is no, how would you say, problems going forward. It works every time you pull that trigger. The gun cycles. It's really, really good in that respect. Now, moving up, we do have our fire selector. It is a typical AR-15 selector, so safe, semi, and fun. Now, of course, when you look at the selector detent, you can hear it is a nice positive detent. And to be honest with you, unlike the HK, this is just ever so slightly more stronger than the HK that VFC produce that we've had on this channel. And to be honest with you, I like it. It's not ambidextrous. There is none on the other side. Unless you wanted to put one, you could. It's all set up for that, but that's up to you. I like it being right-hand friendly only because it reduces one of the accidental bumping of the selector, which can happen, trust me. It does, especially if you're like me and have a higher grip purchase and chunky fingers. Now, of course, other than that, it is absolutely outstanding. When it comes to markings as well, you can see here, you have your Maxim Defense Industries fully engraved in there. It's nice, it's very thin, but it is deep. Now, moving across, we do have our standard AR-15 bolt release. It's VFC standard. There's no difference there. Of course, when it comes down to the mags, you do have an ambidextrous mag release. They are separate, so you don't actuate the other one while you're doing this one as well. It's quite good how they've done it. So that's nice. And it's very enlarged, but it is shielded with this extra material right here around it. So that's good. Now, when it comes to the Magwell itself, you have the MD9 logo right there, which is multi-caliber, and that is because, yes, they do make these in different calibers, so there you go. But in Airsoft, it's just in 9. As you can tell by the magazine well, it is nicely chamfered, and it does fit very smoothly. I found that very nicely with the magazines, that they just easily go in and lock. Now, let's talk about those magazines. Okay, so the magazine they supply is an aluminium lightweight magazine. There is no official marking other than the mock ammo count there. These are supposed to represent the extended mags. They hold approximately 45 to 48 BBs. I wouldn't put any more than that. But yeah, they're fine. They do have the fill hole right here. You can tell by the point and the curvature in the gas seal there. These are VFC style. To be honest with you, I was kind of surprised they never did a specific like Maxim Defense magazine. It was a, let's say, they're cheaper VFC ones, the ones they do for the Marui Armor line, that they supply with this. And that, to me, I mean, you can feel it's very nice, lightweight. It is aluminium. It is good. But it does come with a few issues I've noticed. And that is all magazine related. So, what do I mean? Well, let's show you the weight of the magazine. So we zero it there. We'll put the magazine right there. There is a full tank of gas, and it's 213 grams, which is really lightweight. That's awesome, especially if you're carrying a lot of them. But to be honest, when you're holding 45 BBs in each of these magazines, you only need a few of them anyway for a complete game. So go figure. Now, this is VFC's premium, let's say. They're Glock 18 magazines that they use. You've got the logos, you've got all the nice counter. It's the same. I'll compare it here against it. You can see everything is identical, barring the Glock markings themselves. And if I saw that right, yeah, you can see even the fill valves are pretty much the same, and the knocker valves are too. Like I say, this is the premium one, and to be honest with you, it's significantly heavy. We'll show you that now. With a full tank of gas, you're looking at over twice the weight, which, go figure. But one thing I've noticed is these do not suffer the one dreaded issue that we all have in airsoft, especially with gas blowbacks: cooldown. Now, let's get back to this awesome GBBR. All right, so up here we do have the Maxim Defense engraving in there, which is quite nice. It is held on with a hex key right here. It goes through the barrel nut, which is awesome. They do supply you with this lovely hand stop, and you're going to need it because it is such a tiny barrel. I mean, if you look there, it's a 6-inch barrel at max. I think it came out at just under 6 inches in total length. And to be honest with you, it kind of shows. Now, when it comes to this, you have a single M-lock slot on the 3, 6, 9, and also here on the angled surfaces here and at the top, which is kind of cool. That's all awesome. Now, of course, I fitted a scout light on there with a button. It suits the C-clamp a lot better with this design. There is one fatal flaw, however. When you buy this, it comes with the Maxim Defense sound redirect, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's more like a booster in that respect as well. This is fitted in. It is a steel. Both parts are steel, and it is threaded on 14mm CCW. If you look closely, you'll notice the diameter in the center is smaller, and that's because the inner barrel does actually go to right about here, all the way. But it screws on there halfway through. And because it screws on halfway through, and it sits roughly around there, you will notice that half of this M-lock slot gets taken up by this. And that, to be honest with you, is really limiting. If you want to put any lights or out like that, or use these side M-locks, you're not going to basically be able to do it unless the M-lock connection point is on this side. So you have a choice. Leave this on and it looks nice but does nothing. I mean, people say that in some of the other reviews I've heard them say that this was extremely nice. It gives an amplified sound, a pop. To be honest, for 6 shots on a full magazine, yes, it gives a pop, but other than that, it does nothing. You don't notice it after that, and to be honest with you, it just takes up valuable space that you don't really have. So I took mine off, and that's when I discovered the inner barrel goes all the way through here and into halfway point, right through that little hole in the middle, the support bracket for the inner barrel. And so I had to come up with another solution, so I bought a 1-inch extension for the barrel. They sell them at Patrol Base, although very expensive and a bit of a rip-off if you ask me. But once you've done that, it'll allow you to just go straight up to the end here, as you can see. And you can see here, if I flick that off, your threads will now go right up to the end of this and gives you that nice pseudo look. for the suppressor sort of thing, the SD look as they call it, which I really like. I mean, that looks amazing to me. But yeah, absolutely amazing. Now, let's flip this thing around, just in case you didn't see the 9mm marking there. Let's flip it around. Everything is mirrored on both sides, including the Maxim Defense logo. You can just see underneath there. And of course, you do have your Maxim Defense Handguard serial number right there, which is really nice. And we get down here, you can see the enlarged ambi mag release. I use this side a lot more than I use the other side, so that's really good, and it is very easy. You can see how it works. If I push on this side, you can see it just gently, barely moves this side, but that doesn't move the other side at all, so that's kind of cool. Now, you do have your markings right here for your fire selector, which is awesome, and if I rack the bolt like that, you can see the Maxim Defense logo on the bolt, and you can see the unique cut of their bolt. We can see a mock extractor there. It's awesome. Now, of course, before we talk about the internals, we need to take this out to the range, so let's go do it. Let's show you what this is capable of, and we'll get into it. I'm using 0.25 gram BBs and green gas with the MD9. Okay, so relatively low FPS with the short barrel on green gas, but still consistent. Okay, let's take it back to the 15-meter mark and let's see what she can do. Really good. Okay, let's test the Texas Star. Let's see what she can do with that. Apart from me rushing my shots, absolutely amazing. Okay, we're back from the range. Let's do a quick measurement of the grouping size, and it is sub 2 inches, although I will say there is a caveat there. We'll get into that in a moment. But that's not bad. The FPS, 256 average, is not that bad. Of course, you can always up the gas power if you want to get a slightly more pokier. It's up to you, but here's a simple thing I will state right away. 250 FPS is more than enough from a GBBR, especially when using 2.5 gram BBs or above, for them to call their hits. If they're not calling their hits with that, seriously, talk to your marshals and make sure they do their freaking job. That's the one thing you need to do. As long as they're doing their job, people will call their hits, and if they don't, well, the sight's not really great. It's that simple. Now, as you can see here, if I take my little punch pointer here, you can see we have our hammer, auto sear, takedown pins, and so on. And if you look from here to here, this all looks like the AR-V3 system from VFC, and it technically is. Although if I bring that in, you will notice that this is using the same hammer that's in the Maruyama system and the Marksman AR-9 system. So if you look at that brass little piece, which will leave residue on there as it wears, it's just naturally going to do so, being a softer metal. It's not going to affect anything because, as you can just see, there is about 1 millimeter of material here, but you can always unscrew it and screw a new one in should you wish, or just replace it with a better hammer. That's what I would have done. Now, what's steel? Well, simple. Takedown pins are steel. There is no buffer retaining pin. That is not here because this is a PDW. The buffer doesn't go all the way in. It doesn't need it. Okay, so when it comes to the spring for the sear and bar, all these are steel. This is aluminium. The trigger is aluminium. The hammer is steel. The firing pin right here is steel. This firing pin though is not a standard V3 one. It is longer, has to be for this style of magazine. So let's call it a proprietary part for now, but I'm pretty sure that within the next few months you should see replacement ones coming on the market if you need, but you shouldn't because it's more durable than ever. Of course, the actuation arm here from the magazine and all of these parts here are steel, like your bolt stop. Your wall here for the bolt stop here, so as the bolt slams into it, it hits a steel wall, and there's a steel front piece as well, and it's nice and buried between there just to keep it guided so it doesn't move. They found out pretty quick when it came to their, let's say, HK UMPs, specifically the Gen 1s, when they put a softer material with a heavy bolt and that going forward, that would just eat it away and then just the whole thing would break. So for longevity's sake, they got rid of that. But other than that, this is all fine. If I hit the trigger there, you can see that this only goes 75% on its travel. It's not a full one like you would see on a GHK, for instance, but you never see it, so does it bother you? It's up to you. Now, when it comes down to it, I've had no issues with this. It's ran pretty much smoothly. But one thing you will notice is because it doesn't have its buffer retaining pin here, and yet it is an AR, you would think to take this down is very easy. Just pop the pin, pop it open, and you can easily... No, you can't do that, and that is where we'll get to in a moment. Your buffer spring is your short PDW length one. It's the heavy one for it, which is fine. And here is your buffer. Yes, it is a steel buffer with the anti-bounce, and you do have the nice, softer, rubbery tip there. It is a full CNC part with a nice steel shape weight in the middle of it. All great. Of course, this is your bolt carrier. Again, it's the AR one, and it looks very similar to their Maxim AR9 bolt carrier, but obviously with a new cut. This is, again, full CNC aluminium with steel top, which if you want to remove everything, you will need to undo these two bolts there to be able to remove the, how to say, nozzle inside. It's just the way that it all sits together. You can see the brass color there from the wear, the little flakes that come off. That's just part of it all. There is a wear point here which will hit against your hammer. That stops the wear on the aluminium bolt, being a softer material than the normal zinc that they use. So that's good that they've thought about all the little possibilities. And of course this sits inside there and provides your total reciprocating mass as it goes forward and back. That is another reason why you can't just break it open like a standard AR-15. And so to disassemble this thing, you will need to pop both pins and take it off and watch everything go catapulting. One tip, make sure the hammer is cocked. Otherwise, you're going to be breaking hammers pretty soon. Now, let's weigh that bolt carrier to tell you roughly what energy is going into your shoulder. Now, of course, if we just take the bolt carrier alone, it's fairly light at 118 grams. That's about half, or just a little over halfway point for a standard zinc bolt carrier. But if I take the added weight, that brings it up to just under a full AR-15, like the HK bolt carrier group in its weight. So again, it's nice. It does provide you with a nice snappy punch in the shoulder. And of course, being short travel in nature, this thing just cycles really, really well. Now, move that out of the way. It does have a steel bolt catch point right there. So this is really nice. It's a decent, well-built bolt carrier, and I wouldn't expect anything less for what you get. Okay, so moving on to the upper. The upper itself is a CNC finished upper, which is absolutely well done, very sturdy, very well built. The barrel nut is quite nice. It is aluminium though. Same with the outer barrels. I say barrels because I put this extension piece on right here, which again is on nice and tight, but if you undo, it's fairly long. you can see there where the inner barrel goes to. So your inner barrel is technically that, which if you hold here, like I say, it's around about 5 inches maximum, but it's about 6 inches in total with the muzzle amplifier, which they have here. And as I can just show you, that's pretty much how it would come, like this. And with this raised section here, you can't use the M-lock on the awesome handguard there. So you have to make that conscious decision early on in your ownership, once you purchased it, as to how you want it to be. Now, of course, if you do want to remove the inner barrel and access the hop, you have to loosen the barrel nut and you have to loosen the hop. Now, this is how you would adjust the hop. If you look on your handguard, there is a cutout there. This is, like I say, basically the exact same AR9 from the Marksman 9 hop chamber system. So it's quite nice. It's very small and compact and sits pretty much right here. And with that, you basically do get a TDC hop, and that's absolutely awesome. It's very consistent once you have it set. I will give you a complaint. Why I said that this is a caveat. The caveat to that grouping is the fact that I replaced the booking. The booking that they gave you out the box is a VFC blue booking with a flat, let's say, little nub piece. Now, it's also being blue is designed around about the 332 weights at the very minimum and more towards the heavier BB weights, which, given the FPS of this thing, it's a little bit of a silly and daft thing to do. They should have put a softer booking in it, because this is a PDW gun. You are running lower BB weights, as CQB sights basically do limit it to 2.8 max, I believe, but most people use the more common 2.5 gram BBs. In doing so, out the box, this thing was overhopping with 0 hop, and then that would basically cause misfeeds where you were hearing dry fires and double feeds and things like that going off. It was ridiculous. So you had to have some hop, and that meant it was going for the moon. At 8 meters, you'd see this nice straight up to about 8, and then it would curve all the way up like this. Okay? And to be honest with you, that's not good. So the easiest way is to get rid of the booking that was in it and put a softer booking in there. So I used a 60-degree TNT booking, which has the 2 contact points like a V shape, and that basically gives you enough purchase on the BB itself to stabilize it as it travels down a short, tiny little barrel. Now, of course, it's going to be up to you how you want to do it. You can put a type bore in there. You can put a Maple Leaf Crazy Jet in there, and that will definitely help it, etc. But it really does depend on you. For this setup that I have, I just swapped out the booking. It cost me £6, and away I go. I've now got a sub 2-inch grouping with the stock outer barrel, hop chamber, arms, and all the rest of it. So I'm happy with that. Outside of that, this is an absolute brilliant build as PDWs go, and when it comes to VFC, this is definitely a more premium build feel so far with its internals, comparing it to the Marksman AR9. Just putting that one out there. Now, putting this all back together basically is quite simple. So I'm going to get most of it done off camera, but I'll show you how to reassemble the 2 halves on camera. Okay, so at this point, once you've got everything reassembled, make sure your takedown pins are fully open. We slide the recoil spring in there. And now you're going to come in at a slight angle. So you would come in like this, right over the hammer like that, place it in, making sure to keep a nice solid lock with the back here before sitting it in. Once you see it sat completely here, you can make sure both sides are down. You should be able to start pushing in the pins, which is always a ball ache. So what I found is when they start resisting, you just use a little hammer to get it started like that. Fine, close that. One in, and we're done. Just push the remainder in. It does have a little detent. You feel it with your hand and it will lock in to that place. Once you're done, you're going to want to do a dry fire test. Make sure everything is working. And there you go. That is that.
Yep. 4, 3, 2, 1. Game on. Game on. Game on.
Right now.
Is that Stan?
No, it was it's a new British one.
No, Stan's over there.
In there.
Oh, my fucking knees.
Stan, it's me. We're doing the same thing.
I'm going to try cross. Okay, I'm going to wait for you. Do you want to push up together?
Yeah.
Straight for a minute.
Yeah. Go.
Up high, up high.
Whoop, that went everywhere but there. Ow!
Oh fuck, is that you, Josh? I'm sorry.
Nice. Dead man.
Window's still occupied.
That's fair enough. That's fair.
He's in the window, right side. Moving
2
right.
minutes. 2 minutes remaining. 2 minutes.
Yes! Ah! God, again. He's just lighting me up today.
Free firing prick. I don't like you no more. I saw you running around the corner, mate. I'm out.
That's Mag.
Alright, let's not get killed this time.
Disco with him. Window, left side. He's down the left. Oh, it was...
1 minute.
Short. Yeah, no.
Okay, if you've gotten this far in the video and you like what you see but you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell and like button. That way you stay notified when I upload a new video, and you really do help this channel out and you really do help me feed my family. So, huge thank you. Okay, with that out of the way, now we get to the most important point. Let's put everything together and come to a conclusion. Now, as always, we have to consider the 3 most important pillars in Airsoft, and that is build quality, performance, and support. So, starting with build quality, this is, in the AR9 terms, or the PCC terms, VFC's best they've made to date. It is really, really good. Whether it's the great fitting stock that doesn't bend or flex like other, let's say, companies' knockoff versions of it. The bolt carrier is really well done, and even after 4,000 rounds, looks virtually like new. It's really, really good. They've done an absolute phenomenal job. The only weak link in the, build quality is the included magazine that they give you. The aluminium is really, really cool. And to be honest with you, in a pistol, that probably would suit a pistol type build, but not in a like AR platform. That heavier mass of the bolt carrier and buffer being moved with a heavy spring, it just really does throw this thing into, let's say, turmoil. So if you are going to buy this, first thing I suggest you do is stock up on the Glock 18C magazines that VFC produce, because they are the best out there right now. Now, of course, when it comes to everything else, their inner barrel is perfectly fine. As you can see, I've left the inner barrel perfectly fine. Everything is really nice in that respect. The hop adjustment is really good, except the booking itself being good for the heavier weight. If you're outdoors and running 332s or above, this thing's going to shoot straight as an arrow right out the box. But as I run it CQB, I'm running around Halo Mill, well, of course, that really means I have to go with a softer booking, and I had to change it. But that's down to how you play. Now, of course, outside of that, build quality-wise, this is really the best that VFC have produced to date. Now, performance-wise, you've seen it yourself. You've got sub 2-inch groupings. It's certainly capable of, and that is just absolutely fantastic. The hop is really, really precise. The performance of the magazines, you're looking at around about 90 rounds to 92 rounds before you've gassed out your complete magazine, which basically means you're looking around about 2 full mags of BBs on 1 charge of gas. But you got to remember, you are moving a heavier bolt than a normal slide it would move, and also you've got stronger springs and so on, so there is a trade-off. It's a compromise that basically everyone has to make. Outside of that, it shoots great, it's very accurate, it's snappy. What more can you want? It's very gas efficient in itself. And yes, you can use the pistol size mags should you wish. If you've got Glock 17 mags, they work. So just want to put that one out there for you. Now, when it comes down to support, well, support is very important too. Because no matter how good it shoots, no matter how good it is built out the box, eventually parts do wear and break. That's just the way everything goes. It's a mechanical object. And so it needs to have support, and VFC have got your back. Using the standard gas blowback inner barrels and bookings means that you do have options for upgrades should they wear out or you want to get better performance. Given that it uses the AR V3 system for their trigger, hammer, etc., again, there are those parts out there, the springs are out there, you name it. So that's kind of good. The only downside is, yes, I would say support-wise from VFC, the firing pin, whatever you want to call it, that unit is not readily available for this particular model, this style, the 9mm, just yet. Because the Marksman AR9 used a different one, and same with Maruyama, they used a different one. No one's using the exact same system in any of their PCCs that VFC have made, so it's kind of like crazy. Well, this is more closer to the V3, so I would expect before the end of the year or start of next year there'll be certainly more parts in that respect, but it's not going to break before then. It's a really good, strong, full steel part, so just putting that out there. So support wise, I would say yes, and of course, again, having commonality with their gas blowback, inner barrels and bookings and so on, the performance and so on can be adapted. So the support there for that is just great. It's as good as it's going to get. So putting it all together, what do I think? Well, apart from the magazine issue, like I say, which is a significant chunk of cash, those mags go for £60 here in the UK, depending on where you go. So they are expensive. If you've got a Glock 18 or you've been running the extended Glock mags in your Glock 17 or whatever, you're going to be right at home. Now, of course, your experiences might vary on that, but that's just the one I found. That I have to knock for a couple of points right now. That would basically mean I give it a pass, and it's definitely an A. It's certainly not an A+ or a star rating, an S tier rank. I would definitely say this is an A attempt from VFC. Of course, it is their first with the Maxim Defense line. I'd love to see where it goes. Presentation was amazing. Quality of the build has been phenomenal out the box. It's very accurate. It's very shootable. So it's an A. Definitely highly recommended. If you're after a PCC, this is definitely one to go for. Like I say, that's my own opinion. You guys can let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. And I look forward to reading them, I certainly do. So, with that, as always, I've been Andy the Middle-Aged Gamer. You guys have been absolutely amazing, and I will catch you in the next video.